Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. Really appreciate everybody being here. And I'm just gonna wait another minute for people to trickle in, and then we will get started. Okay, well, I want to be respectful of people's time. So my name is Jason Petticone. I'm the president and co-founder of the Paideia Institute, and I am very happy to welcome you all here to this webinar presenting Living Latin, our new uh, uh, digital and print Latin curriculum for high school and up. I'm happy to be here today virtually in this meeting, and I'm also happy to be here as a point in time in the history of the development of the Paideia Institute, because the creation of some kind of a self-paced online learning tool for Latin, where people could learn Latin directly from us, has long been a dream of mine, and it's something that we've been working on for several years. So be at the point where it's finally out and we're ready to present it to the world it just feels really great. I'd like to take a moment to just introduce the people here giving the webinar today. So in addition to myself, we have Chris Myers, who is he's a Latin teacher himself who uses a curriculum, and he's also the curriculum partnerships manager at Paideia. So if any of you are interested in possibly using the curriculum in your schools or with your students, or in homeschooling environment, or even one-on-one, Chris is the one you would talk to. And we also have Jean Cunningham here. Jean, do you want to reveal yourself to the group? Jean is
Yes, I'm here. Hello, everyone.
There he is. Jean is a curriculum design manager here at the Paideia Institute. He is the person responsible for managing the team that designed Living Latin. And he also manages our forthcoming ancient Greek curriculum, which is essentially the same thing that you're going to see today, but with Greek mutatis mutandis, to use both a ablative absolute and a gerundive simultaneously. So how about that? All right. So the last thing I want to say is please stick around to the end to get your free gift today. We were to sort of thank you all for being here and compensate you for your time that you're giving us. We're going to be giving away a copy of Pange Lingua, which is a amazing document. It's a Latin karaoke book that has been put together piecemeal over time, and it's really got some gems in there, including things like Horror Nocturnus, which is Michael Jackson's Thriller, and a few other pop songs translated into Latin, which are really fun to sing with kids. So that'll be your free gift from us. And with that, I'll turn it over to Chris. And thanks again for being here.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Petticone. Really is my joy to be here amongst all of you guys. I was a Latin teacher just like all of you, and when my school went to the Paideia curriculum, it just changed our world. And so when Jason asked me to help out other teachers to bringing the Paideia different curricula into their schools, I said absolutely. It's something I'm passionate about, as I've seen the great effects it has had. So please, I'm excited to be with you today and set up at the end. I'll share more information, contact information from me, and that way you can get a hold of me in the future. If you need me for anything, I'm here for you. So we're going to be looking at just a few things here in this webinar. We're going to, of course, you heard from our president. I'm going to give you a quick overview of the digital curriculum and just talk a little bit about its pedagogy. Then I want to go right into a demo time. And I see some actually familiar names here. And it's so good to see all of you guys for a second time. I've had some one-on-one with you guys, but I'm going to go even deeper in this demo and give you more facts behind it. And we have also here not only our president, but we got we got Mr. Cunningham, which is the curriculum designer. I can go even deeper if you have any questions in regard to things behind the design. Then I'm going to go and show you the grammar map to show you the progression through the curriculum itself. And then I'm going to show you some other things about how we're putting all of this into print and future plans. Then I'll give you my contact info and a link to the free book, which Dr. Petticone was talking about. Then we'll have just some times for Q&A. Okay, and that can be directed towards Dr. Petticone, Mr. Cunningham, or myself. And if you don't want to forget about it, you can go ahead and put it in the chat, okay, as we're going through this presentation, and then I'll make sure to address each one during that question and answer time at the end. Okay, so without further ado, then let's look at the digital curriculum. We have 60 units, and it's designed to be a high school curriculum, which would be ideal for the 9th grade and the 10th grade, with over 100 animated videos. We also have a reader, which is designed to be able to satisfy those who are comprehensible input in their methodology, but also we have the grammar videos, which are going to satisfy those who are doing grammar translation method. Our curriculum works for everyone. And so you'll see as we go through the demo how really versatile this is for a Latin curriculum. It brings the reader is kind of, you'll be reminded of Orberg's Lingua Latina per se illustrata, but it's going to be something which you're going to say, they really brought this into the 21st century. And that's exactly what they have done. And so I'll also go over some of the analytics that you'll have as teachers and the great developments that are happening there as well. So that's our digital curriculum we're going to be looking at. The pedagogy here is that we were not intending, some of you know, the great divide in the Latin world in regard to different methodologies of teaching. But I can assure you that we had no desire to take sides. We actually think that everything we have provided you is going to be able to be something that you can absolutely make for your methodology. Okay, so if you are the active learning, if you want to speak Latin, we have something for you. If you want to just do grammar translation and that method, we have all the support for you and more. So the pedagogy there is really what we would say it's like a Lingua Latina going and being hybrid with like a wheelock, right? Which I think would be a traditionalist par excellence. So this here is going to be perfect for you. That's what I'm trying to get through to you, okay? And you'll see that as I tell you how I've been able to integrate it into my school. Now, let's go at the demo. Okay, let's go look at the demo. All right, I'm gonna start sharing here my demo screen, and I'm gonna go straight into the particular grammar modules here. So you'll see on the left-hand side, we have all the different units, right? All the way down to 60. But I'm just going to go down here and just show you one grammar video. I'm going to play the whole thing, right? It's only a couple minutes, okay? And I want to do that just so you can see the quality of these grammar videos, but also the way that they're animated and that they teach with quality throughout. And there's a lot of examples throughout the videos as well, which can even be used in the classroom if you pause or if you just copy it into your lesson plans. So I'm going to go ahead and play. You all should be hearing sound when I do.
Welcome to our lesson on Latin sentence structure. But first, let's review how English sentences work.
But we already know English. We want to learn Latin.
When learning a new language, it's helpful to make comparisons with something you already know. This allows us to better understand the form that's new by comparing it with a form that's familiar. One thing that's particularly unique in Latin is its sentence structure. Let's first look at how we structure sentences in English. In English, we use the order in which the words are placed to determine the meaning. In the sentence, "The green monkey bites the yellow banana," we know that the monkey is the subject, the one doing the action, because it's placed before the verb. And we know that the monkey is green and that the banana is yellow because of where the adjectives are placed, in this case, directly next to the nouns they describe. In English, if we start to play with this word order, we can change the meaning of the sentence. The yellow monkey bites the green banana. Move more words and the meaning changes even more. However, too many words out of order will leave us with just nonsense. But not so in Latin. Latin doesn't rely on word order as much as English. Instead, it uses the endings of the words to show what jobs those words are doing. Like in soccer, the players can move around the field, but you know what team they're on, whether a person is a goalie, player, referee, or coach, based on the uniform they wear. So, if we take the same sentence in Latin, but put the words in any order, we'd know by the endings that prosina, green, describes simia, monkey, and that flawam, yellow, describes the bananam, and we'd know that the monkey is the one doing the action of biting, no matter what order the words are in. Though this gives Latin authors much freedom, a typical sentence is often in this order: subject, direct object, verb. Or you might say that the verb is most often at the end of a sentence. Some say that this gives the effect of suspense in reading Latin. All this to say that you are about to embark on a great journey of learning what all the Latin endings are, which words can wear them, and how these endings can change the meaning in a sentence.
These videos are super engaging. The kids love them. I can tell you from experience. You have the teachers, a diverse amount of teachers that rotate in, but the students always stay the same, which makes it super fun. You know, some kids hate some characters and love others, and it makes them really love this. A couple notes in regard to this. You'll notice at the bottom, I'm going to scroll down here. At the bottom is a bunch of notes. And all of these notes are so valuable for several reasons. You can use it, copy and paste it into lesson plans for that administrative duty. You can use it for your students and have them, you know, be able to copy this down into their notebooks. But it provides a really great summation of what that video content is going to teach. Another thing that's important, you'll notice that on the left-hand side, if you kind of look, the grammar lessons are put first. There's 6 of them in the first unit. That's atypical, but typical in this sense that there's more grammar videos per unit in the earlier part of the curriculum. And it does that, of course, in order to be able to get to have your students read Latin with ease early on. And then as you go and you advance into the later portion of the unit, so let me just go down to show you one, you know, you're only going to have just 1 or 2 grammar principles per unit, and then that being practice in the reader. And so let me go ahead and show you what the quizzes look like. Every single grammar video will have its own quiz, the check on learning questions, in order to make sure that your students are understanding this content. And it's a good touch base. I'm just going to go through here just to show you randomly, you know, what it looks like. You see here, it will tell you how many is right in the percent, and it won't allow you in the student-facing version to go on if you don't get an 80%. They'll be able to retake it. And just as a reminder, and I'll show you this soon, all of this is being recorded for you teachers to see, okay? And I'll show you that in a minute. But let us go and go look at the reader. This is my favorite part of this curriculum. So you're going to look here. We have a story which is set in modern Rome, and this is going to go throughout all 60 units. And the story is you have students which are studying abroad, students from all over the world studying abroad here at Rome to learn to speak Latin. And they're here and they're going to be able to see all of the different sites in Rome. And then the story, as it progresses into later units, okay, units 40 onwards, it has a really engaging mystery novella built in. And so it's engaging for the students. My 10th graders really you know, there's an item that was stolen, and my students were on the edge of their seat to find out who was the thief. And I'm not going to tell you, you're going to have to read it. Okay. But it's a really great story overall. The fact that it's set in modern Rome has huge advantages. It's something in which it's going to support your comprehensible input if that's something you're interested in, the speaking of Latin. Because I mean, you can just see in this picture, you have a camera, right? And you can see in the text, you know, that's for, you know, photographs or photos, right? And so it's something which you don't see. But just in case you are wondering, this does not take away from the ancient Latin vocab. Okay, this is an additional to that. They're getting the ability to speak Latin in the world around them, and they can read the original Latin sources as well by utilizing these readers. Here's the cool thing about it. After you get through all 60 units, your students would have read 80,000 words. Isn't that amazing? And so it's such a great resource for them. Some other reason why it's good that it's set in modern Rome from our perspective is you get to incorporate all of the history of Latinity. You see, think about all the archaeology that's going to be incorporated. They go and they see, you know, monuments and obelisk and mortuary and all of these things, which incorporates all of the history of not just the empire, but into medieval times, into Renaissance times, where Latin was, of course, in the academy, just the dominant. And so this is not the only reasons. If you think about it, having it in the modern Roman time gives you the ability to treat difficult topics with a certain nuance. And so some of you who have taught with Lingua Latina like I have, right? I mean, you have a brother beating a sister, right? And you have the discipline of slaves and all these things. And so it's not able to be really commented on very much, is it? You just kind of pass over it like it's normal. Well, this is something that can be taught in nuance. And so I'm going to show you some of the features in here. The first feature I want to show you is the fact that we have a built-in glosses. And so I'm going to click on Carmina here because you can see it's highlighted. And automatically it goes over to the side and it is giving you the entry for that. And it's all in Latin, making sure that your students are thinking in Latin, right? It's the old principle there. And also built in is a dictionary. And so I can just click on any word. You got to give it a double click. And when you do, the definition comes up. This is home built dictionary. Okay. In the future, we might add some more things to this, but right now this will get a student through where they're just struggling, and it really helps them not to be discouraged. And we're hoping in the future too to be able to have teachers be able to turn this off if they desire. Okay. One of my favorite features is the grammar tab, because this takes your reader and it gives you the ability to do whatever you want with it. You want it to be a grammar translation reader? Too easy. Watch this. So all the grammar videos are embedded that they had to learn for this unit, but you see this little toggle right here? If I hit that, it shows all the examples of the passive voice, right? Or whatever that particular grammar video is all about. Let's say infinitives with verbs, right? And there they are. And so now you can, you know, do tons of different things with this. You can assign line numbers for grammar translation. You can read it once with the highlights, right? And then once without. And you won't believe the difference it makes having those highlights when they read that. It activates the mind for the kids to say as they're reading, oh yeah, okay, this is something I would have learned for this unit. What is it? It's okay, it's an infinitive. Okay, so that means, and it gives them like these interconnections as you're teaching that really makes it a powerful tool for the teacher. So I love that grammar tab for that reason. Another thing I like is this morphology. I'm going to call it a tab, okay, up at the top. And you click on it, it comes down into like a show a tray, and you like Wheelock's paradigms? Well, they're all, you know, we got them, right? We got the noun and noun declensions, we got the verbs, irregular verbs, we got the adjective pronouns, participles. Everything's here. You can scroll through it. And the cool thing about it is too, is let's say you want your kids to be able to reference it. They haven't memorized it yet, maybe. And so no problem. You take it down and it's just like a Post-it note sticking there to the reading, and you can just drag it along with the kids as they read. And once they've referenced it enough to where they have, been able to memorize it, yeah, it's no problem. You just put it back up, click on the morphology tab again, and the tray goes right back up into the screen. The functionality is really just one of my favorite things. So, really, really love this. I want to show you also how the quizzes differ from this. I'm going to go into a quiz. Just show you, it's a little bit more. Let me back this up to kind of show you. Let's see. Let's show you more of the screen. You're going to see that they're a little bigger quizzes, and they're in Latin, right? But as long as they've read through the story, it's not Latin they haven't seen. It's all picked right out from the stories, and they got to choose the correct answer in Latin as well. And they're able to hit submit, and it's going to be the exact same thing that I showed you before. They're given the percent they got right, and they got to make sure they look at what they got wrong and try to correct their thinking on that. And then they got to take it again if they didn't get 80%. Okay, so really a great thing. We have, in addition to these, we have, let's see, quizzes. I wanted to mention one thing that's important. Almost every single one of these, in the beginning, it starts off with them just going to different things to see in Rome and such. And then at the end, towards the mystery novella part, they're going all throughout Italy, right? Traveling to different places to solve the mystery. But what the curriculum designer and Gene, Mr. Cunningham, did an excellent job on this, is they try to make sure the original Latin is being interfaced with throughout the stories. And so if you think about the story we had before, they're in the classroom. But as we go later, let's say I go down to 26, and I look at 26, we're going to see them going out and actually visiting inscriptions in Rome, right? That type of archaeological type of Latin. Or they're thinking about Cicero, right? Because they're Latin students, they've had it. They're at the point where they're learning to speak it. And so Cicero is quoted, and you see the original Latin intact, and it's dealt with within that modern context. And so it's super fun that way. And it's also giving your kids exposure to the original Latin sources. Okay, let's go to the vocab cards. That's the next thing on our list here. The vocab cards are like a Quizlet functionality. You can flip over the particular card. You can make it show you the English first instead of Latin, all the stuff that you're used to. You can mark the ones you're struggling with. You can also download it, and it downloads as a like a spreadsheet, and you can upload that spreadsheet. I've done this with great success into Blooket, Kahoots, and it makes it so much fun for the kids. They just love, I know this sounds crazy, but they love studying their vocab when you can gamify it. And even if you don't, right, we have the good ability for you to use it in this good Quizlet type function. And a couple of things about this that I think you'll find really neat is this curriculum was thought through. So I can't express to you how much hard work went into this. For example, with the vocab words, they use the Dickinson College commentary, which tells you the 1,000 most commonly used Latin words. They use that as a base, right? As they were thinking through how to build the readers and the vocab cards and dividing them up between each unit. And so you have 5,000 unique words in the reader, right? And the 1,000 most used Latin words are here for you, in addition to, right, some of the other ones which on top of that, which they need to know just to get through the reader. So I mean, it's just very powerful tool as you think about, by the time your kids are done reading this Latin curriculum, they are ready for AP and beyond. They're reading Caesar, no problem. Okay, they're ready for Virgil and Ovid in AP. So that's a quick punch into the vocabs. Let's look at the next thing. You'll notice if you look after the vocab cards, the history and culture articles. Let's take a look at one of those. This is one of the latter ones. I want to make sure I was showing you not just the beginning units, but which I did to some of you guys as I met you before. But this is really latter. the cool things about the history and culture articles is you have the coverage of Roman history, not from the monarchy all the way through the empire, medieval times, and into the Renaissance. And here's an example, right? Into the Renaissance, you have Galileo being covered and all of the things about him. And what I really love about these history and cultural articles is that there's always, always, always original Latin for them. Now this, remember, this is unit 56, right? This is almost at the end. So this is extensive. It's not always this extensive, but look at this exposure that they get to the original Latin, and it's always translated for them, right? And this is something that Galileo wrote. If I were to go into let's go to a closer unit 6, right? Talking about pets in ancient Rome, right? A cultural item. You'll notice that there's more illustrations and such in the margin, especially available to them. They can just click on it and it goes straight to it. But also the original Latin is there as well. It's just reduced, right? Understandably so. So your students are going to be constantly dealing with the original Latin. It's not just going to be reading a story we made. It's going to be the story of the ages, right? Now, these history and culture articles go through the history I told you, but they also go through the culture and the myth knowledge required in order to have your students prepared for the National Latin exam. So that's covered. At the end of each one of these, you're going to find that there's further reading for teacher or student wanting to go deeper. But in addition, you have discussion questions. And this enables you to bring Socratic discussion over these history and culture articles into your classroom. And I have been amazed by the way that has really incited discussion in my classroom. And I think you can see why that is. After each history and culture article, you also have, of course, the quiz, just like before. This one is going to be in English, and they have to choose the right one. And I think by now you kind of get the picture here, where you're going to have a submission, see their percentage. How about you, teachers? They're doing all this work, all these quizzes. Where's it going? Well, I got good news for you. Do you see up here this teacher dashboard? Yes. If you're a teacher, you have a database. I'm going to show you it. Okay, here it is. You have a database of all of your students. I only have 3 in this particular account, but imagine having all 20 or 30, right? Here they all are. And you have several different views. This is, you can go as deep as you want with this. This is a true grade book, okay? You can do the overview view, in which you are seeing averages of all their quizzes and all their videos in each unit. You can go down to the unit view. This is the one that you would, use if you were going and you were taking grades and pushing them to your, grade book of record or whatever for your school, and you were doing it assignment by assignment. You can see each assignment, you can see each student and what they got for it. And so that's the unit view. You can go down to the student view. Maybe there's one particular student, that has an issue you want to look into, and you can see everything the guy's done. And you can toggle between different students here on the right-hand side, and it just gives you everything they've done. Amount of attempts, how much of the video they've watched, everything is here for you. And you can even go deeper if you want to see actual, oh, wow, I want to curve my grades. I want to see what question the kids are getting wrong, right, by percentage wise, and just eliminate that question and see what you can dive into. Just one quiz or question by question, you're able to do that. It gives you not only the ability for curving grades, but also, for knowing when to reteach certain things as well. And then there's the activity log, and this is where everything's recorded. The amount of time they've been in each quiz, the amount of time they spent in the program, the amount of time they spent in the videos, how much of the videos they've watched is all here for you. When they've completed it, when they completed, how much time they took. So this is great. It really gives you a deep dive. You can even go down and look at date specific. And so limit the date to a certain day, where you're wondering about what they were doing on that day. Maybe there's an asynchronous day, like a Friday or something. You can just go to that Friday, see what they were doing. It's really a powerful device. And another cool thing about this is that, there's this, it's called LTI, that stands for Learning Technology Integrations. And my school uses Canvas. I know there's several of them, but because my school really has wanted to partner with Paideia and has adopted their curriculum throughout, from elementary all the way up for their Latin, and now Greek in high school. We asked them to kind of have a way to push all this data to our learning management system, our Canvas, and they did it for us. This is the kind of people we're dealing with, right? People that care and want to partner with schools. And so they built an LTI for Canvas, and it's able to push all of this data that I've been showing you, at least the grade portions, straight to the grading database in your learning management system. And so that's really powerful tool, and you're going to love it. A couple more things I wanted to show you. Every 5 units, there's an exam. Okay, so you look on the left-hand side. Now I kind of made things small for you, huh? Let me go in a little bit more. On the left-hand side, you see test units 6 to 10. Every 5 units, you'll have a cumulative exam built in for you. And we also have this, Quid Vitas is like a fun thing that happens every so often. I think it's every 5 units. And it's just a fun picture and, you know, all kind of questions in order to elicit your students to be able to look at the picture and say what say in Latin what they see, right? They see insulae or whatever they see, and that's there for them. So it's fun for comprehensible input for sure. So that is the demo. All right, let me just transition back to my slideshow, and I'm going to show you just a last couple things, and then we'll go to questions. Okay, let's see. Here we go. You should see now. Presentation. All right, demo time being done. Let me go over the grammar. I'm sure you're curious. How do you take 60 units and fit all this stuff in? All right, well, here's how we did it. We front load a lot of things, and we go noun heavy in the first 10 units. But of course, we're going to give them the present tense, right? We want to make sure they have that. And we work in as well the passive voice. Very unusual, right? We want the stories to be engaging. And so we do that to be able to have variety within the reading. And so you're going to see they're going to cover, you know, most of the noun system is pretty much covered in these first 10 units. You have almost every case there, right? And then when we go from 11 to 12, now we're going to pivot from the noun system and jump into more depth in the verb system. You can see the imperfect tense, the perfect tense, how to tell them apart. And then not only are they giving you adjectives and such, but they're also getting in the participles. Isn't that fantastic? By unit 18, present participles, perfect past participles. And so they kind of jump into those, you know, non-indicatives for just a minute. And then they come back at unit 20 to the future tense. And from 21 to 30, let's call that the end of 9th grade, okay, for the ideal situation. Then you have them ending with the perfect passive and, you know, some of the advanced noun grammar, like the ablative absolute and the partitive genitive. All right, and they kind of end there for 9th grade in order to pick up next year with 31 to 40. But you'll notice that unit 31 is designed for you to do a review. No new grammar, but it has a reader that incorporates all the grammar from unit 1 to 30, so you can review. It's a perfect time to do that. And then it just plows forward. It starts with the verb system and finishes it out. The pluperfect's done, the future perfect's done, and then it gets in and it pivots to the participles and finishes that out. You got the future active participle, you got the gerundives, and then it gets into the subjunctive. I don't know about you, but before coming to Paideia, I've taught with several. I taught with Lingua Latina. I came directly from Cambridge to here. Before that, I was in Wheelock and in Ecce Romani. And I never got to the subjunctive in those. I just wasn't able to, not enough time, the way they had it set up. You get to the subjunctive by unit 38. So that early 10th grade year, here they are in the subjunctive. And then we just dive deep into the subjunctive. From unit 41 to 50, it's all the different uses, right? Almost as many uses of there is for the ablative, right? Just look at them all. You finish the, you know, different types of subjunctive, imperfect and pluperfect and perfect, but then you're going to get into the indirect statement, indirect questions, and all of these different ways in which the subjunctive is used. Then unit 51 to 60, you're still finishing the subjunctive, but you're also doing the 3%. the stuff that's not that common, but you're going to need to know for some of that prose portions of reading original Latin, and of course for what they're going to need to jump straight into AP, right, where they're doing Virgil and Ovid and the poets as well. So they're ready, my friends. Unit 60, they have no new grammar. They just have a ability to read a story that has all of the grammar from the whole entire curriculum, and then they're ready for Virgil and such. Okay, they're going to go straight into AP, no problem. They're going to read Caesar, no problem. Okay, this is what's fun about it. A couple other things. All right, I know that was a lot. I know you guys are going to have questions. We'll take it. We'll make sure to go through each one of them. But just a note that we're going on our 3rd year of the digital curriculum, but I want to let you know that this is a special year because we are putting this digital into print. And you're going to see it's going to be in 2 volumes. The textbook will go volume 1 through the first 30 units, volume 2 through the last 30. And it's going to have a workbook with it as well. Each one of those volumes will have a workbook that have all the exercises you need for, as you see in the digital curriculum. And everything you see in the digital curriculum, you're going to see in this textbook. Okay. And so it's really going to be powerful for those of you who are not ready, to have a hybrid or classroom or a digital classroom. You don't need to. Here we are. This summer, we're going to have these print volumes available for you. Okay. Volume 1 should be done this summer. I think volume 2, maybe just a little bit into fall. So that's our print curriculum. And you can ask Mr. Cunningham any questions if you have questions about that. A couple of our future curricula and plans I wanted to make sure you guys all knew in order to stay tuned and make sure you subscribe to Paideia and Paideia Media on YouTube and make sure, because you're going to see we have a middle school Latin curriculum coming. And so ideally, this is a 9th and 10th grade curriculum for high schoolers. But guess what, guys? I've made it work in my school for 7th and 8th grade and 9th and 10th grade. I made it a 4-year program. You just got to take 15 to 20 units per year and it works. Now, that's not done ideally, right? That's done just because we don't have our middle school curriculum out yet. Our middle school Latin curriculum should be out soon. I put 2026, maybe January. I can be corrected if I'm wrong on that. I'm pretty sure that's a pretty good estimate. What the middle school curriculum will be is the first volume, the first 30 units of our Living Latin curriculum, and just pared down for middle school and doing more graphic novels rather than the longer readings that you have. So that's what we're going to do. It's going to be paced for middle school, and we're trusting that it will be really great for supporting your middle school Latin students, okay, and your teachers. I want to also mention we will be doing further LTI integration with LMSs. I found out that what we've done with Canvas, I can actually export that and actually use it in Schoology. But other LMSs where we want to partner with you. If you have it and you want to go with Paideia, we're going to help you, okay? So we're looking to do that as we are partnering with more and more schools. We also are going to be having further Latin word data in the learning report, so you can actually know what Latin words your students are struggling with. You'll actually have that data. I mean, that's data provided to you as a teacher that is unheard of, right? That amount of detail. Well, we're working on it. We have the Living Latin curriculum approved by certain of our partner colleges and universities. Isn't that amazing? For dual enrollment credit, I've helped a couple schools now do that, and I'm hoping to continue that work, and I can help your school. Okay, if you go to the Paideia curriculum, we're also have some AI guides under beta that will go into our Latin readers, and this gives you the ability to not have ChatGPT at all, but to just use something that's trained just on our curriculum and actually does not spit out from just answers, but actually guides them like you would as a teacher. And so it's kind of like a safe alternative to the big name AI programs. So really excited about that, and we're working to refine that now, and we're excited about that. One last thing I want to mention is there is a elementary, or let's say 3rd to 6th grade curriculum has been out forever, it feels like, in print and and also digitally, and that's called Elementa, Foundations for Latin. Right now, Elementa 2, the print and all the teachers' materials and manuals is all available in print. You can even pre-order it on our website. A great webinar was done by Jamel, and you really should watch it if you can, if you have those grades within your sphere of influence. So you can find it on our YouTube account, the Paideia Media. There's also the link here for you. You can see what it looks like there. So yeah, I really recommend it. And so we have reached the time where I tell you that this is my contact information. You can call me, you can text me, you can email me, okay? And I'll be happy to connect with you. If you want a one-on-one, if you want a quote for your school, I am happy to help you with that. And I want to make myself just wide open available to you. I'll even send you later my calendar. That way you can see what time frames I have available, and you can schedule accordingly if that's easy for you. Okay. We're going to go into questions. Before we go into questions, what I would like to do is to put your prize into the chat. Okay, so I'm going to do that for you now, and then we're going to jump into questions. And so while I'm doing that, it may be a good time for you to write your question into the chat. That's going to be one method of dealing with questions. Another way that we'll deal with it is we'll deal with it by just raising your digital hand, and you can come off mute and we can hear it. If you rather not type it, there's no problem with that. Okay, so I'm going to be giving you a link in the chat, and that will give you your prize for being here with us and the gracious attention you've given us. Appreciate it so much. So I'm going into the chat now where I see, whoo, 48. This is awesome. Okay, 48. There you go. There it is. Now everyone should see that in the main chat. If you know, Zoom did this update where you can click on you know, like personal people and message them, and it kind of distracts you from where the main chat is. The main chat's all the way over on the left. You got to click on that in order to see it. Let me start with some question and answers. I'm going to also just allow Dr. Petticone and Mr. Cunningham to jump in if they see anything. All right, I have. Yes, you can pause these videos at any time. Thank you, Charlu. Oh, you know what? Some of these have been answered already.
I pretty much answered everything live as it came in the chat. So
I love it.
If anyone, we can just sort of take them. Can you put the link for the Elementa webinar in the chat too? Yes, we definitely can. Chris, can you go grab that and
would love to. Yep, be happy to. Let me grab that.
There's this question. This is worth mentioning. Todd's question. Maybe I'll just mention it aloud. Are there ways for instructors to do tutoring through the system, signing up individual students? So basically, like when you get a teacher dashboard, you can buy a certain number of seats. So let's say you have, you want to teach 10 students. You put that in when you sign up, and then you have the ability to basically invite those students to the platform. So you just basically input their emails and their name, and they get an invitation, and then they get to sign up. And they're part of your group, and you can see their performance in the analytics tool. So it's very easy to add students. They could be students from your school. If you want to supervise students who don't have time for Latin, it's easy to just add them to the platform.
All right, the Elementa webinar recording, I put that link. It'll be that YouTube link in there.
Any other questions that anyone wants to ask live or in the chat?
I see one that just popped up here. I've registered for my son to start intermediate Latin next week. Will we get a link? How do we know if we're in the correct session?
Yeah, so this is a question about our actual synchronous online Latin program this summer. So this is a separate, this is a Living Latin Online. It's a little confusing because all of our stuff is called Living Latin, but Living Latin Online is a synchronous online program that we actually run for students where they use the self-paced online Living Latin curriculum. So, these questions about will we get a link and how do we know if we're in the correct session and stuff like that, you're going to want to write back to info@paideiainstitute.org or Megan Buick, and I could put her email address directly in the chat for you. So you can get those questions answered, but that's actually not the topic of today's webinar. This webinar is just about the curriculum itself. Joe, do you have a question?
Yeah, I did. Thanks a lot. Hey, how I would like to hear kind of how you use it in your own classroom. Like, how often do you use it every day, or is it the primary thing that you're using, or are you taking days off?
Yeah, thank you, Joe. So it's used in my particular school 3 times. I get the kids 3 times a week, but I get them for a significant amount of time. I get them for an hour and a half. Okay. And so the way I use it in the classroom is I have multiple lessons planned for the day, and they're straight from Paideia, right? So lesson 1.1, right? Lesson 1.2. And I go through those. And then what I do is after we go through the grammar lessons, right? Once we made it through all those lessons, then I go into the reader, and I have them doing the vocab in the background for homework all the time. And then I assign the check on learning for homework most often. Only sometimes do I do it in the classroom as like check on learning to make sure, you got that right. And then I use that reader for several days, for reading days, for just having discussion days about the content and the different things that are in. I use the highlight feature a lot for the, identifying the different features and have conversations around it. And I also have a whole day helping them look at the reader quiz, and then the history and culture articles. I can't do every one Socratically because of the pacing, but I do several of them Socratically, especially some of my favorite ones. The articles are super fun, and so that's how I have utilized it in my classroom.
Okay. The Marcus, you mentioned, I believe, a mystery tour across Italy. Can you a brief overview, teaser about the tour, destinations, what happens? Sure. So, without, of course, revealing too much information. Essentially, this curriculum was built after almost 15 years of leading students around Greece and Rome. Paideia's main activities, as many of you know, are in-person travel programs. And so the curriculum is kind of built on our experience teaching Latin in Rome and visiting sites all over Italy. And so the story of the reader is essentially what we've lived in our programs for the past 10 years. Students from all over the world coming to Rome, excited about the classics, wanting to visit sites. And so they, over the course of 60 chapters, the first 30, they're kind of like in Rome, they're going to class, they're visiting sites in Rome. Most of the sites in the initial chapters focus on classical antiquity. So they go to the Colosseum, they go to the Forum, and they have, experiences, get into antics. We try to make it fun, but it's basically getting that, that part of the reader needs to really get the basics for storytelling in place. And then in the second half, let's just say that suddenly these students have all brought kind of special objects, you might even say talismanic objects, with them to Rome that remind them of home. They all have special significance for each of them. And suddenly all of them go missing. And there's a break-in at their apartment, and they get a clue that the thief has escaped to Naples. So they go down to Naples, and there's this sort of mystery story chasing him around the various places in Naples. Eventually, maybe he's in Capri. They go to the National Archaeological Museum, Pompeii. So it's a way, the mystery story is a way of bringing students around all the great archaeological sites. Since we're set in the modern world, that also allows students to visit places like Monte Cassino and learn about Thomas Aquinas and other important medieval sites. Then they don't catch the thief in Naples. They follow him back to Rome for another sort of period of adventures focusing on the Middle Ages. So sort of chapters 40 to 50 are like medieval Rome, and he escapes again to Florence. So chapters 50 through 60 are actually focusing on the Renaissance. And so you get Galileo, the Medici, and the students get a taste of Renaissance Latin. And then finally, the mystery is revealed, and the students all meet up on Piazza Garibaldi. You get a little taste of Enlightenment, Neo-Latin right at the end, and that's the end of the story. So that's how that works. Question about billing from Christina. Yeah, the curriculum is billed per student. So this also works great, by the way, as just a self-paced online learning tool for individuals. We have a lot of people using the curriculum who are like independent learners, retirees who want to learn Latin. But for teachers, the pricing scales down as you basically buy more seats. So it's $10 a month or $100 a year for one seat, and then for schools it scales down accordingly. So something like 80 for 5, and 60 for 20, and all the way down to I think $40 per student per year if you have over 50 students.
I also saw that Paul asked for a link to the scope and sequence, and I'm going to go ahead and provide that for you guys in the chat as well. This would be the curriculum map, we call it.
We have a question here from Olivia. Is this could it be used in conjunction with a different curriculum or on its own? So it is definitely designed to be used. I mean, it's sufficient to use entirely by itself as a complete Latin curriculum. It teaches all of Latin grammar. It teaches history and culture. So you really don't need another Latin curriculum. However, we do have, because of its self-paced online nature, we do have some schools that, for whatever reason, are committed to or stuck with a different curriculum that they can't get away of right now. And they're implementing this either to supplement or to do work over the summer to help catch students up. We had one school this year actually lose their Latin teacher mid-year, and they just put all the kids on this and got them through the year, and actually managed to keep a program going without a teacher for a while. Now they're hiring a new teacher. So it's very versatile, but I mean, we designed this curriculum understanding the, problems out there in the Latin teaching world. You have 2 different levels in one classroom sometimes. You have schools doing all sorts of different things to try to keep Latin going. So it's really designed to support all of those situations. Yeah. Question about Catholic school. Are there any references or add-ons to Church Latin? Differences in pronunciation, etc. Okay, so you definitely don't need add-ons for Church Latin because there's tons of Christian and medieval Latin throughout the curriculum. They're visiting St. Peter's, Castel Sant'Angelo, Monte Cassino. So it's very rich. I mean, just as the history of Rome and the Western tradition is replete and shot through with Christian Latin, so too is our curriculum. So there's no need for any supplements. We have done the entire thing in the restored classical pronunciation. So no ecclesiastical pronunciation yet. However, we are planning on adding that in the future. And in fact, our Living Ancient Greek curriculum, which is coming out later this summer, actually, perhaps somewhat radically, uses both pronunciations. So it teaches both the ancient reconstructed pronunciation and the modern Greek pronunciation of Greek, and we'll do that. We'll do that for Latin too, as well. It's just a matter of re-recording the videos. Diana Bess asked, how many completed units would be required for a student to sit for the level 1 NLE? I feel like that's a good question for you, Chris, because I don't do this on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, yep. Juliana, I just did this. So if they get through the first 15 units, they can do level 1. If they go through the first 30, they can do level 1 and 2, or they can do level 2. And then if they make it through 45, which my 10th graders were blowing through 45 into 50 this year. they were able to do the advanced. So yeah, it's just perfect for that. And it's why when we were using Cambridge before, when we switched, this is going to be our third year coming up of using Living Latin. And as soon as we hit that second year, we didn't do the first year, we didn't do the NLE because we switched curriculum, but that's this year is our second year we just completed, and the NLE scores were phenomenally higher than when we were using Cambridge. And so that's what I love about this hybrid approach. It really makes it better for the students.
Right. Any other questions? We are approaching the hour, and thank you all so much for sticking around so long. Gratias plurimas, libenter, etem TV. Yeah. So if you're interested in learning more, you might be interested in possibly talking with Chris about adopting this at your school. Please get in touch. We are very excited to start getting this into schools and start building partnerships with teachers to support you guys as best we can. So thank you so much to everyone for coming. Great to see you all, and have a great rest of your evening.